Hi, this is Terry Lopez Preuss, NBCT, and I am a career educator. That means National Board Certified Teacher. I am a language arts teacher and a physical education teacher by trade. I am also the author of a little book with a very big heart called Voices in the Hall. And in that book, students that I had open up to you, to the world. In fact, most of their journal entries start with Dear World. I've been a journal writer my entire life. I started journaling at about 11. I still have all those journals, stacks and stacks of them. And I journaled into my adult life. When I became a physical education teacher, which was the profession that I wanted to choose, I realized that journaling could still open up so many pathways of understanding for me. But it wasn't too long before I was asked to teach a language arts class. So I started a journaling program that just kind of blossomed. And frankly, when I started teaching dropout prevention, which is the kids who've had trouble in school, they've usually been failed at least once or twice, they're at risk. When I taught at-risk students was the year 2000, and that was the year that I was basically thrown into dropout prevention with really no preparation. But through my journaling program and through journals, I actually won their hearts and they won mine. And we sort of just fell in love with each other. And that's why I say Voices in the Hall is a little book with a big heart. Those kids just changed my life. They really did. And I'd like you to be able to read their stories. My book's available on Amazon. And I'd love for you to read about Chungo and Kyle and Ashley and Latoya and the things that happened in their lives and the way that they spoke and the way that they thought and how they changed my life. I'd like them to be able to change yours, and I think they can. Since the year 2000, I have come to realize that such an awakening was about to happen to me, because they allowed me to change the way I viewed the world. They allowed me to realize that I was a judgmental person. I had an idea that the way that I thought things should be was the way that things should be. And I no longer even use the word should, because I think that it's, who are we to judge each other? Who am I to judge? Being in a classroom with some of the toughest kids in Broward County, which is a South Florida county, taught me how to understand things that I did not understand. And they say that you want to destroy that which you do not understand. And when I look at the world, I see that we've been destroying one another a lot from the beginning of time. I mean, Cain and Abel, and one kills the other. And if you aren't very biblical, you can just look at all the wars we've had. So we've been destroying one another based on our philosophies and our beliefs and the things that we don't understand about each other. So what you don't understand, you want to destroy, and you fear. And there were times when perhaps I could have feared these students. They could have certainly killed me at any time. They came close to killing a couple of substitutes. Tied them up in knots anyway, locked them out of the room, threw pencils at them. They gave their substitutes a really hard time. But they loved me and they respected me because I respected them and I really loved them. And they helped me to understand a different kind of life than anyone that I had ever known. I had come from my own little way of upbringing. And yes, I was always an open-minded person, but I did not understand the level of trauma and struggle that these kids were living in when they were coming to my classrooms. Through my dropout prevention class and through my kids' journals and through their Dear World entries, I began to understand a world that I did not know existed. And I tapped into something really special. And I tapped into something that I think you need to know. And this isn't just for teachers. This is for policymakers. This is for anyone who wants to improve the way they think about things, the way they look at the world. I've actually been able to continue to transform since the year 2000 because I had an awakening where I realized that, man, I don't know anything. These kids are really smart and amazing and interesting and fascinating and funny and oh my goodness, and I thought I knew what was going on in the world, and I knew nothing until I met these kids. And after I met them, I realized how many missed opportunities I'd had in my previous teaching career, because even though I was always a well-liked teacher and a good teacher, and I loved my students and I had fun with them, and I loved what I was doing, I missed the opportunity of getting to really know the kids. And these kids let me know them. And through knowing them, my heart opened, my mind opened, and I was then open to other thoughts and other ways of thinking and other ways of viewing the world, and accepting people and understanding our differences and everything. So all of this brings me to my journey with being a circle keeper. I'm a circle keeper, was trained by the NEA, the National Educators Association, and I realized through my work with restorative justice that my journals were restorative justice. That through the journaling process, we came to understand and figure out and look for ways to have less punishment and more love in my classroom. And it changed everything about me. It changed everything about me. And from then on, I've been a different person. And I tell my students this all the time, and I'm still in touch with many of them. In fact, I just went to a baby shower last weekend, and that's probably why I'm so motivated to speak about Voices in the Hall, because I ran into Chungo. And Chungo is having a baby, and it's a girl. And I took him a copy of the book because he had never gotten one, and his family was reading it, and his nieces and his aunts and his mother and his dad and everybody was reading it. His cousin's girlfriend was reading it, and a previous student of mine's friend came and read it, and actually she started crying, and she said, I want to write, I want to write, I want to write. And I said, okay, so let's keep doing this. So Voices in the Hall is transforming me constantly. And in this last weekend, I realized that Voices in the Hall has to be opened up to other books and other chapters. But right now, what it is a little book with big heart. And you can get it on Amazon. And again, it's Terry Preuss, NBCT, Voices in the Hall, my students speaking to me and speaking to the world. And trust me, you will not regret it. It's written in street. It's an unusual read, but you better buckle up. You better buckle up. I hope you enjoy it. Voices in the Hall.